we'll do this little exercise.
All right, so welcome to editing and navigating documents on the Windows side of things. And Diana.
Okay. So we know where we're all at, I'm going to ask a few questions. And it's fine if you don't know the answers, but if you do know the answers, you can just shout them out. And so we can pretend it's a Jeopardy game, or we can just do it. These are all commands that you would use when you are working in a document. And we'll start with some really basic ones, and then we'll move further in. So, for example, who can tell me how to move forward one character?
Right arrow.
Yes, perfect. Okay, so that moves you forward one character. What about backward one character?
Left arrow.
Yes. What about going to the top of a document?
Control home.
Control home.
Yes, good. What about the bottom of a document?
Control N.
And
Ah, good. What about the beginning of a line?
isn't it something to do? Page?
No,
Nope.
not
No,
page. No. Isn't it? Ooh.
Beginning
Control
of a line.
left arrow. Control
Nope.
left.
Oh, good one. That'll take you back a word.
Oh,
Control left arrow goes back a word.
control shift
right
arrow. Left arrow.
No.
No.
We'll get to the shift ones. None of these have shift in them. Home.
No.
That's right. Home
Home.
takes you to the beginning of a line.
Yeah.
Just home.
Oh, that's
End
right.
takes you to the end of a line.
Oh my God, yes.
How do you go down a page?
Page down.
Nope. That'll take you down a screen. It should take you down a page, Sue. You would be, it really should, but it doesn't.
I'm just reading what I
Arrows
Here,
down?
no, well, you could arrow, but you'd have to arrow about, 50 lines, and that would be a pain.
So control page down.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So knowing that, what's going to take you up a page?
Control up.
Control page up.
page up.
Right. Okay.
And I don't know if my mic is on or not. Sorry.
Yeah,
It
it's
is.
on now. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. So we've got basic commands. Control home takes you to the beginning of a document. Control end takes you to the end. Home takes you to the beginning of a line. End takes you to an end. Left and right arrows go forward or back a character. Control left or right arrows take you forward and back one word. And you will always be at the end of the word in Windows. So if you write I am going and you wrote those characters, if you did home, what word would you be sitting on? If you do I, yes. Why? What does home do?
Take you to the
Put it
beginning
in
of the
the beginning
sentence.
of the line.
Yeah, exactly. So you're
Right.
on there. So if you want to get to going, how would you get there?
And that
You
would put
could,
you at the end of the
I
line.
just said I am going, right? Because we didn't finish that sentence. Where's your cursor going to be?
At the end of
Right
going.
after
At
the
the
G.
end of
At
going.
the end of G, the last
Yeah,
G.
of going. Perfect. Now you would add a space, and then you could write to the store, and you would have everything focused at the right spot. Now, what if we're going to talk about, now that we know those commands, we're going to talk about how we can highlight those segments of text so that you can copy, delete, or paste. So if you have a sentence, I am going to the store, and you want to change store to doctor, okay? So how could you get, then there's a few ways to do this. your cursor, how could you get to store, knowing where it is on your line?
Well, you first press the N to go to the end of the word
Perfect.
store.
Perfect.
And then you just want to either just backspace, like delete the word or type.
Okay, but how do you move back one word? We just did this. I said
control
Oh,
left arrow.
okay, but if you add shift to that control left arrow, and you're sitting at the end of the line, you're going to highlight the word store.
Okay.
So anytime you add shift to any of those other commands, they are going to highlight that amount of material. So if you wanted to highlight store, you do control shift left arrow because we're at the end of the line. And then if you just write doctor in there, it actually replaces the word store. So you don't have to delete it or cut it or copy it. If you want to just change it, you can just write over whatever you have highlighted. And the one thing you always have to be careful of is that you don't, once something's highlighted, don't fool with your arrow keys. Don't play around with stuff, because that will unhighlight whatever you had highlighted.
It deselects it.
It deselects it. That's the other word for highlighting, right, Chantal, is select. And that's what your JAWS or NVDA says. But if somebody cited says to you, well, that's highlighted, that's the same thing.
Okay.
So
And
what if you typed a bunch of words below it and like let's say I am
after I went to the store, I went to the bakery. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so I've written that. So what's the what if?
Let's say you wanted to change it to met somebody for coffee or something.
Okay, so now the couple of commands we didn't talk about, we talked about home and end if you've got one line. How do you think you move up and down a line with this scenario? So now we have more than one line. We've got I am going to the store, and while I'm at the store, I'm going to the bakery. We're going to change that, though, to what Sue suggested. I met somebody for coffee, but we're on two lines now. How do you think you might move first from the top line to the next line?
Control
Down
arrow.
Down arrow, exactly. So if you wanted to go to highlight, how do you think you could highlight the line, I am going to the store, if you're sitting on I? So you've pressed home, you're at the beginning of the line. How are you going to highlight, I am going to the store?
Shift key and down arrow?
Not shift
No.
key, shift
Control.
right, shift end. Now, if you keep holding that shift and press down arrow, guess what happened? It's
You
going to
moved
highlight
everything
the next.
down?
No. If you keep holding it, you're going to go down to the next line and highlight it. So it would highlight, shift down arrow, highlights the line below what you're sitting on.
Oh, that one I didn't know. That's where I've made mistakes. Okay, makes
So
sense.
what
Can
happens?
you repeat that, please?
Okay, so if you have, let's say we put a return at the end of these lines, because obviously you may get more text on a line than I'm talking about, okay? So you did, I am going to the store, enter, okay? And then you've got on your next line, I'm going to the bakery, and we're going to change that after, Sue. So you have two lines of text. You're at the top of your document, you either did control home to get there, or you were on your first line, so you did home. And I always suggest, if you're not sure where you are on a line, you press home. and you'll get there. So you want to highlight that line. You can do Shift End. That highlights your first line right up to where you pressed enter. Then to highlight the next line, you keep holding that Shift key and press down arrow. Okay, so then it would say, the next line says, I am going to the bakery. Okay, so now those two lines are highlighted. If you press delete, they'll go away. If you press Control C, you're going to copy those lines and you can put them somewhere else. If you press Control X, you're going to cut. In other words, they're still going on to what they call the clipboard, but you're going to cut those lines away and you can put them somewhere else, but they will no longer be in the document you're in.
DNID/Inca virtual volunteer has left the meeting.
Okie dokie. All
So,
right.
Diane, it's Pat. I'm a little bit lost in that I opened Word, but
Okay.
I can't write anything. It wants to, when I did capital I, it wanted to do something with tables or something like that or whatever.
You haven't
Do
got a blank
Control N.
screen.
Do Control N and see if it gives you a new document.
Okay.
Control N, file list box, new 2 of 5. To move to an item, press the arrow key.
Okay, press enter.
Enter list box, blank document, 1 of 1.
There you go.
Okay.
Now,
Okay.
what somebody has to do is go into Word and get rid of your stupid backstage view, so you open Word right into a new document. And that's
Okay.
a whole other discussion.
Okay,
So,
Marsha.
Pat, you're a perfect. Write the sentence, I am going to the store, and press enter. And you can leave your speech on.
Space A, space S, T, O, R, E, period, enter.
Okay, now write, I am going to the bakery.
I, space A, space T, O, I, F, E, T, O, T, A, space, D, A, K, E, R, Y, period.
Press enter.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Okay.
And now how are you going to get to the top of that document?
Control home.
Top of file, going,
Perfect.
or period.
Okay, how are you going to get to the next line?
Alpha,
Arrow down.
I am going to the bakery, period.
Okay, now we're going to leave, I am going, and we're going to change to the bakery. We're going to change meet someone for coffee. So you're on the second line, Pat. How are you going to get to that to change, well, we're going to say to the bakery we're going to change. How are you going to get there the quickest way, do you think?
Okay, well, I would go control right arrow to find it.
Perfect, go there,
Okay.
do it.
Okay,
Oh,
on the word
perfect.
the or the
Okay.
bakery.
No, you can sit on the. We want to keep two because we're going to say meet a friend for coffee. So
Okay.
now you're in the middle of a line. How are you going to get to, how are you going to highlight, how could you, from here to the end? And there's two ways I would accept.
Control
to the
N.
end of this line. Yes, no, not Control End.
A shift
gonna
N.
Shift, yes.
Shift in?
Yeah,
Okay.
press Shift
So-
and End.
Can I do
Together.
shift and then control right arrow?
No. Well, you could do Shift, Control, right arrow as well. What's the difference between the two?
I
What
don't
would
know.
one do? Oh, you do know, actually.
No, I don't.
What does
One
control?
would do by word and one would do just the rest of the sentence.
That's exactly right. Control End is going to highlight everything from where you are to the end of the line. Control Shift right arrow is going to highlight words individually. So highlight the words the and bakery.
Select bakery, selected.
Okay, so you chose a good way. Now write meet a friend for coffee.
Right where I am right now?
Right, yeah, right now.
E space R E N E space L R space O F F E E.
Okay.
Perfect. Now do insert up arrow for me.
I am going to meet a friend for coffee, period.
Oh,
Aha.
Wow.
I see.
Wow.
It
I
replaced
see.
what you wanted.
You
It's
know
magic.
what? You know what?
I've never done that.
Need advice. So I just learned something.
You know what I did wrong all the time, and I
What?
realized why I never learned it.
Oh, okay.
I'd always check everything as I was doing it. So it would go back to the end of the line and then
Oh,
then
geez.
I'd go enter and then up arrow and make sure everything was in the right place so much that it messed it all up.
That's
You didn't
right.
use the
That's right.
commands. Yeah.
You have to use the commands and know where your cursor is. Now, if you're, so now we've learned how to move by characters, words, lines, move to the beginning, end of a document, beginning, end of a line. We don't have a whole page of information. If we did control page down, we just get to the end of coffee, which is Pat's already at now because she typed that.
Coffee period.
We could add another page though.
We could add
So-
another page.
So what's the command to either insert a page break in the middle of a document that you've already written, or or make a new page so that we can play with the.
Control.
Okay,
Yeah.
Enter.
I'm on,
Perfect.
Am I right? Control enter?
Yeah, you are.
okay,
And Pat, if you're not sure where you are, because that's what you were asking. Sorry, Marcy, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Not
You
a
can
problem.
do insert and the number 5, and it'll tell you what character you're sitting on.
oh, I'm on the period. Okay, so I have to go right
yeah.
arrow once.
No, if you're on the period, you're sitting to.
And we're just going down, we're forcing a page, right?
Yeah, so yeah, you want to go to the right of that period.
Yeah, I just did that.
Yeah,
Right.
and now do control enter.
Control enter page 2.
Yeah,
There you go. Now you're on page 2.
okay.
So if you want to highlight all of page 1, how would you get back up there?
Control A.
That would highlight everything. What if you want to keep page
Page
2?
Top of 5. I'm going to the store period.
I did control home.
Yeah. How are you going to do, how are you going to highlight a page? How did
Control
we say
shift
we,
page.
yeah, yes, control shift page what? Up or down? Yes. So if you do,
Down.
yeah, because we're at the top now, Sue. We're at the top of the document. She moved with control home to the top. I am going to the store. She's sitting on the I.
So
And
it took her to the first page again,
Yeah.
right?
of course, because control home takes you to the top of the document. You can have 500 pages. Control home is not going to take you up a page. It's going to take you to the top of a document.
Oh,
So now, how are we going to highlight this text in the first page?
Control shift.
Yeah,
Page down.
yes.
Page
Control
down.
shift, page down. So do that, Pat. Control shift and page down together.
I did.
And that's interesting that it didn't say the text and selected.
No.
JAWS and NVDA have a problem with that. It may
Well,
have
it shouldn't read
highlighted the
the-
whole page, but
Yeah.
it doesn't read it properly.
Yeah, that's true. So how could we delete
I
this
think
and
I've
then we'll
got
see
some-
if the page break's still there?
I'm going to the store period.
It lost the word.
Well, but you moved your cursor, so now everything's unhighlighted, unselected.
Yeah, I know, but even when I went control home,
Mm-hmm.
I
I think
somehow
I is
lost.
still there.
No, it's not.
Yes.
Nope.
A.
Nope, I is not there at all.
Well,
Period.
it's
I'm going to the store.
possible.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
going to
okay.
store.
How
I'll
would you
put
get it back? Put it back.
just put sit on the A and type in I space.
Yeah, yeah. Are you using your Braille display too?
No, I'm not.
Okay, no, that's fine. I just was interested. Yeah, so how are you going to highlight that page again?
Top of 5. I am going to the store period.
Yeah, and it'll only read you that first line. That is true. Because, yeah, so how are you going to highlight the page?
Well, I'd probably end up pressing my shift key and going down arrow because I'm so like, where the heck am I?
Right,
So-
but we just learned a command, control page down, that moves you down a page. So if you add shift to it, control shift page down, it's going to highlight all of that text.
Does it matter the order in which you press the keys?
Well, to hold them, hold control shift and page down. It doesn't matter as long as they're all three down at the end of this command.
Okay, control shift and then
Control shift page down.
Perfect. Okay. Now press delete.
why do I don't even know where I am?
Because we're delete. Yeah, you do.
I don't.
Yeah. I'll tell you why if you press delete.
I.
I'm on an I, but I
Okay, I think somehow you didn't press control shift page down. And the reason that your cursor would be at the end of page 1. That's how you know where your cursor is. So if we did it right, all you would have is a page break on your screen.
I'm
Is it
using-
called, is
I'm
it called
using-
page break?
Yeah, it should say page, well, either that or it's going to say page 1 and page 2.
I'm using the number 3 key on the insert page down.
I have a page down. Do you
Yeah,
you
I
have,
know, but I do have another, but I don't use it. I use the number pad for all of that to move around and everything.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
No, that's
It-
fine.
It depends what cursor you're in, whether that's a good thing or a bad thing.
I know.
If
I
if
never use
you're
those.
yeah, if you're for sure in PC cursor, then it doesn't really matter as long as your numlock is yeah.
Yeah, it is. Well, yeah, because I'm moving around in JAWS and everything like that, right?
Well, you don't
Mhm.
want to move around in JAWS.
But
You
I-
want
but
to
I mean-
move around as the PC cursor because otherwise you'll never know where you are.
Mm-hmm.
Does that
Yeah,
mean you go to
that's-
the top and find, go to the top of your keys and find PC cursor?
PC
You should
cursor
always
is
be in your
yeah, you
PC
should
cursor.
always
It's on
be.
the numeric pad anyway as well.
Mm-hmm. It's the
Yeah.
plus and the minus
Yeah.
is the JAWS cursor.
So
But it stays in PC cursor unless you press the JAWS cursor.
But the
Change it,
thing
yeah.
is, if you do Control Shift page down, and then you press something else, it'll unhighlight, and
Yeah.
you'll lose that selection. It won't be selected again, or
Yeah.
it won't be
Well,
selected.
you can press certain keys, like you can press delete or you can press,
Right.
Space
but
bar
no
will take
character
everything.
keys or space or anything.
like I
So
said, I
t-
did do that, but the the page down key, the control shift is easy. I mean, that is all, but the page down key that I used is the
That's
number.
okay.
number
That's all
pad.
right.
Matter.
Yeah, that shouldn't matter.
It should have
If you
worked.
press it, does it say page down?
It does.
Yeah,
Yes.
it should. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just wondered if she was in a different.
No, and
Okay.
when I went down, it did say page 2.
Oh,
Went
good.
down to that second page.
Yeah.
But if you did that once just after you press the Control Shift page down, you lost your highlight is gone.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't do, if you want to delete a whole page, you have to trust that your Control Shift page down works. And then you have to do whatever it is that you want to do to it. So you want to delete
lot
it,
of
you hit the
trust.
delete key. Ah,
Mm-hmm.
Period.
All right.
Am
so-
I correct in thinking when you press the space bar key, the space bar after you've highlighted something, it'll erase everything
No.
and it'll put
highlighted.
a space bar there.
It'll
It'll
put a
put a
space.
space there. It
Yeah,
won't,
it erases
it'll
it,
leave,
but it puts
yeah,
a
It
it'll,
erases it, but
yeah,
it puts a
it'll
space.
replace it with a space.
Yes, correct. Yeah.
whatever you could and instead of pressing delete, we could have written, I am working on the computer, and it would have replaced that
With
whole
that,
page
yeah.
with that. Because that's why I'm very careful to tell people not to press anything unless they want to type something new in there, or it gets confusing.
I was going to
because-
say it's too confusing because I haven't worked with this stuff enough to
Well,
realize
then you have to
selected
practice.
whatever.
Yeah. Well,
That's,
it does say select. If you do shift end, it should read the line you've selected, and you know. Now, I don't normally delete necessarily a whole page of text. That's an uncommon thing. Most of the time, I'll delete a few words, or it doesn't mean I can't do it, but that isn't something I commonly do all the time. But
just a quick section sometimes, you know.
Yes, yeah, it works. I have to be careful when I do Monday morsels. If I do a whole page, I don't want to get more than I want to get rid of. So sometimes I will use my line commands. Now, does anybody know how to move up and down paragraphs? And paragraphs are usually shown with a space between. Does anybody know how to do that?
Well, you do enter twice to get to a new paragraph,
Okay.
or else you can
So,
do 5 spaces in.
well,
an
no, you should never
indented.
do 5
No.
spaces in. You should always press a tab. Don't ever do 5 spaces in.
Why not?
Because let me think, why not? Well, for one thing, if you change anything in that paragraph, you're going to get a 5 space, you're going to get 5 spaces in the middle of your text then.
It affects your margins.
Yeah,
it
does.
treats it like characters instead of like
Yes,
when you're
yes,
typing.
yes.
Now I get it.
Oh, good. Because I'm thinking, I very rarely use indented paragraphs. We use them all the time in Braille, but I don't use them in print very much.
They're not as common anymore from what I
No.
can see of anything that I read. Yeah.
Yeah, basically you're using block text.
They're
you know.
using block text. Yeah.
If you're writing a biography or something, some people will indent, but even then I still don't.
No.
If someone
No, I
wants it
don't do it
indented,
anyway.
then I will do it. But really, no, I don't use the indent anymore. I look
It's
at it as
not the
long as you got to
practice.
break a blank line between, I never do it anymore.
So Pat, how would you delete that page break that you, or anybody else can answer the question? I'm not really picking on Pat, but she's got it open for us. How would we, and we're not sure where Pat's cursor is, but we do know that the last thing on this document is a page break. So how would we delete that?
You'd want to do
Control
end to get to the page break, and then just press delete.
Actually, not delete, because you're to the right of the page break, and the delete deletes the character that you were on. And I'll show you how this works. Yes, backspace.
Backspace, yeah.
Good old backspace.
Good old backspace. So Pat, delete the page break.
Page number, page 2 of 2. Word count
No,
14
I did.
words. Spelling and grammar check. Note blank.
End of it. Okay, where?
Spelling and grammar check?
I don't know how she got in there. Well,
text predictions, text prediction.
What the heck?
Page 1, page break, page 2, blank.
Yeah, so it didn't, the backspace didn't delete it, or didn't get rid of the page break, obviously.
Well, do it now.
Do it now?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, now it said page break when I back.
So you were maybe not at the end of, okay, so it deleted that. Put return in there.
Enter.
Okay, now write, next week, I will, what do you want to do? Next week, I will
have more computer training.
Okay, write that. Perfect.
Whoops. Space, E space, COFUTER space, TRAINNING period. Space.
Okay. Now, if you want to go,
and
I
now
made a new paragraph.
I would always press enter because I don't like being in the middle of a line somewhere.
Oh, don't do that though, because then your writing looks really weird because you got short lines all over the place. Never ever press enter unless you want a new paragraph or a title. Or
Okay.
like, I'm trying to think of any, no, because then your writing is bizarre. Because what happens is your right-hand margin gets short and long, and if your line has wrapped and you don't know it, it'll go to the next line. Because unlike a typewriter, when you write, when the characters on that line fill up, the computer takes
Yeah, it
you
wraps
automatically to
around
the
next
next line.
Yeah, word
Right.
wrap.
Yeah,
And that's what you
well,
want.
it's a little different
No.
than word wrap, but yes, that's right. It's word wrap. That is exactly what you want. But if you start putting enters in the middle, then it says, oh, you finished the sentence, but you might have a lot more to say in the paragraph, but you told me to put a new line there, so I will. And it looks weird. So don't do it.
Okay.
Yeah, my memory from what I took way back at VCC's coming back.
Oh, good. So we now have two paragraphs. One paragraph has about 2, maybe 3 lines. The other one has only 1. How would we, does anybody know the ways to get up to the beginning of the first paragraph? And there's 2.
Control home.
That would be 1.
Control Shift Home.
No,
Nope. That would highlight
that would
from where
highlight
you
it,
were
yeah.
to the
Oh.
beginning.
This isn't it. No, home wouldn't do it, would it?
No,
No, that would do line.
Yeah. Try control up arrow.
Oh yeah.
Control. Oh,
Page 1. Next week I will have more computer training period.
Okay. Well, you're at the beginning. Do it again.
I am going to meet a friend for coffee period.
So you have enters at the end. When we put those in,
Yeah, we did.
how would you delete the enter after store? So you're on the second line now. I am going to meet a friend for coffee. How would you delete that enter?
I would go to that for arrow up to that first line, press end,
Blank.
and then press backspace.
Nope, delete maybe.
Delete.
But, yeah.
Blank.
But I'm on a blank. I'm not on
Yeah, that's your return. That blank is your return. If you want to, a return is a character, just like A, B, C, but you don't see them. What they do is they take you to the next line.
Okay, so press delete now.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. So now it put me to I. Whatever.
Yeah, it took you to the next. So now if you do control home to get to the top.
But I don't know if there's a space between the period and.
Well, you can because nothing's highlighted. I suspect there isn't because you started at
No,
the
there
beginning
isn't.
of the line.
Yeah, exactly.
So you would put that space in.
Okay, I did that.
And the way I think of where your cursor is, it pushes everything to the right of you, further right. It's like a steam, it's like a pusher. So if you wanted to put a space, you would sit after that period and put the space.
Right.
Not on the period. If you
Right.
put the space, it's going to push the period ahead of you.
Okay.
So everything adds characters to the right of where your cursor is on the computer.
That makes sense now.
So my whole line should.
I'm going to the store period. I am going to meet a friend for coffee period.
It
Perfect.
missed because I didn't have it there. Like I just.
No, that's right though. You've got it you've got the whole thing on one line because you deleted that return.
I know the word I is missing from I am going to the store.
Oh, is it again?
It is, and I don't know why.
Okay, go to the home. Go home.
Yeah.
Home space A space.
Oh, it's on a
Okay.
space. So,
You've got a space there.
yeah.
So
I.
Mm-hmm. The less you move your arrow keys, the better. The more you learn to use these commands and know where you are, the more accurate your writing is going to be.
Okay.
So now, if you do control down arrow, you're going to get to the second paragraph.
Next week I will have more computer training period.
Yeah, that's the next paragraph.
Okay. But
But what? And what character do you think you're sitting on?
Probably the N.
Yes, perfect. Yeah.
But I don't know if there's lines to tell it that it's the next paragraph. Do you know what I mean? Like
So go up one line and see if there's a blank.
okay, there's 2 blanks there. Okay.
Blank. Next week.
But
with
that's
more text.
that's the kind of thing that I would have to check out. Like I don't immediately know, well, that's where I
Well,
am.
if you put them in, that's where, well, the other thing, and this is a little confusing, from the end, you could also press left arrow and here 2 blanks. You wouldn't have to use up arrow because the returns are just like characters, even though visually they move you down a line or a blank space. In computer language, those returns are characters.
Okay,
And so you can think of them, if you wanted to delete one, you could sit on it and press delete. And
okay,
one would go away, even though it says blank.
yeah, I just did the, oh, if I, okay, say that again, Diana.
The returns you will hear as blanks. If you sit on either one of them and press delete, you will delete that return.
Okay, so if I am on the N right now.
Yeah.
So I'd have to do left arrow once.
You could.
You're telling me that I could, but maybe.
No, that's not wrong. No,
Okay.
You could do it that way, or you could press up arrow and you'd be on the same return. What I'm trying to explain to all of you is that visually it makes a blank line. But as the way it's working on the computer, you can get to those returns either way.
Okay.
Can I just comment on paragraphs?
Yes.
The one problem with using double enters to make a paragraph and creating a blank line is that Word does not default to having 0 blank lines when you hit enter.
That's true.
So when you hit another enter key at the end of your paragraph, Word has already put in a piece of space, a bit of space, usually about 8 points, which is about a half a character, maybe half a line. So when you do it twice, you're putting 2 of those in, and that's that's not necessarily what you want to do. So you only want to hit enter once at the end of a paragraph, unless you go into the paragraph settings and fix it. So that there isn't so that Word isn't adding in blank space.
Yeah, and that's the first thing I do when I install Word. I go in and I turn off that stupid backstage option, and maybe we should do a session on that. And I turn off the paragraphs because people are so interested, or at least I was used to putting 2 blank lines in. So I turn that off. I turn off, don't capitalize the first character of a sentence or the days of the week. Don't auto-correct anything. Let me do it. And I turn all those options off in Word, and they're all on by default, and it drives me nuts.
I'm going to throw a monkey wrench in here.
Oh, you think so, do you? Okay, throw away.
What happens when you are writing a poem and you have lots of uneven lines? Like,
then they're supposed to be uneven. So you put returns where you want the lines to end.
But if you're editing,
that doesn't matter. If you're writing the poem and you say, I wish we had better weather, that's your first line, and then you're going to write, but if we had better weather, we go somewhere else. And you don't want the return to add until after else. You don't put it till after else. And that's a stupid poem, but a lot of poems don't
a lot of poems are stupid.
No, they're not, but but they don't all scan. But that's how you if you're going to write a poem, you put enters where you want them. You're the editor, you're the writer.
But if you're trying to edit out mistakes, you use the same rules?
Yeah.
Oh,
the same
yeah.
commands.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to say something for me because I'm not a good speller. The one I would
Okay.
never turn off is the actual spelling part. I don't worry about capitals
Oh,
with that
no.
because, but spelling words is my weakness. And if there's two kinds of spelling words, sometimes it will catch, hey, you picked up the wrong color or you picked up the wrong two for a sentence or there.
Yeah. Yeah.
It
It
will,
doesn't usually pick those up. That's grammar, but yes.
that's grammar, yeah. But
Yeah.
at least if I'm spelling a word wrong, I can go back, oh yeah, that is spelled right now. And I've learned how to spell a new word. You know, sometimes when you don't spell, like I don't.
Yeah. No, I
it-
don't turn off spelling either.
No, no.
I was talking about the
Or
thing
grammar.
that are grammar, but I well, sometimes I do because the grammar isn't always correct. I don't
No,
care what
grammar,
Microsoft says.
I don't worry about having grammar turned off. Yes, because sometimes it screws you up. I know that one can't. But yes, when you're
no,
saying
spelling
turning
I
on
leave on.
the editing of spelling,
Oh,
you
yeah.
know,
Yeah. No, I don't turn that off. I'm not a perfect speller. But I'm talking about the visual things. I set
yeah.
a font that I want. I set a lot of stuff. And I suppose at some point we could do that if people are interested.
Oh, I would be because with having the newer computer, you know, going from one kind of office to another, I know there's some changes and sometimes you need to change because sometimes I need to, if I'm just working on something regularly, I don't enlarge it. But if I need to make a grocery list, when I'm making a grocery list, if I'm printing it for my husband, let's just use that as an example, he wants it in a bigger font. So I want to copy and select that and be able to, and in this, I'm still struggling how to do it. So I'm like, ah.
Well,
See,
there's a
I'm
very
finding we're
easy
going
way of
backwards.
doing
Yeah,
it.
there is.
I'm finding we're going backwards because of the new Windows. I don't even know where I am.
Okay, so we need to know exactly where people are lost. So is it Windows Explorer, is it File Explorer or Windows Explorer, whatever they're calling it in Windows 11? I think it's File Explorer.
It is File Explorer.
Yeah.
Is that where people are finding the most? Because otherwise, Windows 11 behaves pretty much the way Windows 10 does. Alt-Tab will move you between open programs. You can go to the desktop to launch a program. If you have the shortcut there, you can hit the search, the start menu, and just type the program, or you can have a list on your start menu, which you can tab to and pick from there.
Yeah.
Everything is
The,
pretty
the
much
one
the
I like,
same.
and the taskbar. I love the taskbar.
Oh, I love the taskbar. I use it all the
Yeah,
time.
or you can put things on that you can pin start,
Yeah.
you can pin items to the taskbar.
Because if you're in, let's say if you're in Outlook and you want to go get a document, so I'm just say I'm attaching the minutes from, I've done a set of minutes and I'm attaching them to the document. You can go from your document, like your email that you've started and you, okay, oh, I forgot to go put the minutes on the clipboard. Okay, I gotta go that. You can hit, you know, whatever your Windows, the taskbar command you use for
Jumping too far for me.
Yeah.
You're jumping too far for me.
Yeah, you guys are getting into too many
exactly.
areas.
And the other thing is I do not like it when I'm typing and it tells me that I've misspelled something.
No, so you turn all of that off.
Autocorrect.
Turn
Yeah.
off. You turn off
but that's what I
spelling
mean.
as you type. You turn that off. I don't have any of that stuff turned
I
on.
don't either.
No, spelling as you type would drive me
Drive me
insane.
nuts.
Spell
Exactly.
complaints.
Can't figure out what the hell you are.
Yeah, that's
So
right. You
that's
don't.
what that's telling us is we need a lesson in word options.
Yeah, or not a lesson, but
customize
a workshop to actually have people go through and fix
Well,
the
yeah, they'd
things
have
that
to
are
do it while
drive.
we did it, and
Absolutely.
nobody seems
Yeah.
to like to do that. Because you realize if you're in Zoom on your computer, you can open a Word document.
Yep.
You don't have to worry that you're going to lose Zoom because you likely won't. I'm not going to say won't because as soon as I say
You
won't,
shouldn't.
somebody will do it and it'll happen.
You
No,
shouldn't.
you
The
can
moral of
have,
this whole story is you've got to learn to trust the commands and get comfortable using them. So write yourself a document and play with it. You can't break it. Only me, I
Yeah.
only break things, but you guys
well,
can't.
you also have to listen to your screen reader.
Mhm.
Because 9 times out of 10, your screen reader will tell you what you need to know. You just need to listen to it. And if it's not telling you what you need to know, then you need to figure out what setting to fix so that it does. Because like I said, most of the time, if you have your screen reader set up with the right verbosity, so the right amount of information that you need, then it will tell you what you need to know.
Yeah.
Well,
And
I
you just
keep
have to
getting
follow it.
pop-up menus.
Yeah,
On
and
your
that's
phone,
a
yeah.
new thing. Yes, that's a new thing. And you just double tap on that menu thing and it'll open up a little dialogue that you can just flick through and deal with it. But that's for another day because that's iOS and we're on Windows right now.
Right. But I mean, I don't like them.
Well, sorry to say they're here to stay, I think.
Yeah.
You just flick through to close or
Yeah.
That's right.
or
But
take out of context menu. Sometimes those are them.
Yeah.
I'm on a PC. I'm not on a phone. So
No, that's
whatever,
Well,
doesn't mean
You know,
That's why
what,
we're learning a lot of
Yep.
you're demonstrating it, which is a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
We
okay,
like it.
Pat, the one thing I've learned with a computer, if I'm not sure if I've done something right, there's a little trick I've learned. Go through and finish what you're doing, then go back and go through it line by line and make sure everything's set the way you want it to be set. And that's how, after I spell checked or whatever I wanted to do. But I'm just saying is sometimes if you're not sure, sometimes after I've finished what I've done, okay, did I really do it the way I wanted to do it and set it up the way I wanted? I'll start at the top
but
and I'll go through it line by line or paragraph by paragraph, whatever. And I realized, oh, geez, I have done it. And that gave me confidence. It built my self-confidence. And I didn't do it with big documents. I did it with like a couple lines, a couple paragraphs, and I worked up to 2-3 pages, and I got confident with my commands. And that's how I built it. But today I realized I don't know all the commands.
Oh, good. I was wondering if this was going to be too basic for people when Marcy and I talked about it, and but I was kind of determined to make it start from the very bare bones and work up so it had some logic to it. So I'm glad you said you learned something.
Oh yeah.
It's like driving. I've picked up some bad habits, and maybe they're not bad to a lot of people, but their habits never the same. That the less it just you need to figure out how it best works for you and what's more efficient, because there have been times if I know that I want to correct something only 3 words back, I'll just control left arrow 3 times real
me
quick.
too. Yeah.
But you learn to know when you should do that or could, or maybe it's best rather than to try and fiddle around with other commands. But that's up to you. That's up to you to decide what works best for you.
Here's one more command we didn't talk about today, and I think some of you guys know it, but it's going to help Pat get rid of the junk that's on her screen because she doesn't really need this document. How do you highlight everything in that one document?
Control A.
Yes.
Yay.
And then just press delete. And when you close it, it's going to say, do you want to save this document? Tab to no.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I get it.
Because it assumes you love to save blank documents. Well, actually, it doesn't care what's in the document.
No,
Right.
it doesn't.
Nope.
I've had a couple blank documents go, what did I do?
I've kind of learned what some of these things mean just by using my Shaw Blue Curve, because the gadget has, left and upright arrow and OK button and a lot of things that a keyboard computer has.
That's right. Yep.
And it's helped me remember what some of these things mean. And because it's a 3-dimensional thing with arrows
That you
you
can
can
feel.
feel,
Yeah.
it
Mhm.
it helped me learn a lot of things that I forgot.
Good.
Now I just got to get a matching computer. Or actually, what I could do is use my dead computer's keyboard.
Well, you could do that anyway. You can use whatever keyboard you like to use on the
Well, I
computer.
mean, to edit.
Yeah.
If it isn't actually doing it, but you're doing a PC on your keyboard, I could go to one of the computers that doesn't work and do those keystrokes for I never thought of that till just now.
Assuming it has JAWS on it, you could do that. But if it doesn't, you're kind of typing into.
No, but
space.
I would be anyway because the computer's dead and it
But-
does have
oh.
JAWS. But
Well,
the
you
fact
don't even have to hook it up to a computer then, Sue. You just
Mhm.
sit with your keyboard and
that's
do it.
what I mean.
Oh,
It would get me
okay,
used
I'm
to-
not.
And I don't know what kind of device you're talking about, Sue, so.
The blue curve is.
No,
You're talking about a computer now.
I'm talking about a JAWS computer
Mm-hmm.
that was
But
that was purchased 10 years ago, but is now
Mhm.
broken.
Yeah,
So-
but
Okay.
you started to talk about a blue curve or something like that. That taught you how to do. I'm going like, where are you?
It taught
TV
me
remote.
what the arrows
It's a little
mean.
TV remote.
remote.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So does
Sorry.
anybody have any questions before we
Turn
end?
off the recording.
Yeah, that would be good. Should we turn off the recording before we do the questions, maybe?
Oh, no, I meant before you turn off the recording, you want the
Oh,
questions?
okay. Does anybody have questions about what we did today? Does it make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. And I'm assuming that the next session we want to do is how to customize Microsoft Office.
I
I
guess
think
so.
that would
That's
be,
scary,
or do we,
actually.
That is.
or do we, well, I could do that. That's
Well, I
nice.
can, yeah. I'll be the backup.
But I think we need to do we need to do File Explorer
I was,
now,
yes,
so-
I just sent you a file. Mark,
Yes, I
of it.
got that.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, so the next one will be File Explorer, hopefully. Thank you very much, and I am going to stop the recording
Okay.
right now.
I have a question.